All right, good evening. Can everyone hear okay for starters? Yay, no air conditioning on, so that's a good start. Um, Welcome. It is July 1st. Wow, already a lot coming up. Glad you're all here, for whether you're here in person or online. As we usually do, we're going to begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by President Ron Wilbur. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ron. All right, Andrea, do we have a verification of quorum, please?
Director Doherty,
Here.
Director Medved, Director Cooney,
Here.
Director Bill,
Here.
President Van Vliet.
Here?
Hearing 5, quorum met.
Thank you. All right, couple of reminders because it's now summertime and we have extended hours at our lodge here. There are a couple of rules that I want to reinforce, particularly after last month where we had such a large crowd. There is no videotaping of these meetings allowed. So if you're doing that, you can take a picture when we present awards, but other than that, no videotaping. And for that reason, we do videotape it and put it on our website, so it's available to everyone that way. So and also there's no alcohol in the meeting. And so if you have it, we encourage you to take it outside. I know it makes for a more lively meeting in some cases, but it is against our rules. So thanks. All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we'll begin with public official comments. Greg Thomas from the Elsinore Valley Water District, General Manager. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you, Chair and Board. I'll be filling in for Director Burke, who is stuck in traffic coming back from the Central Valley. So some of our work, but just let you know that our board Thursday approved our 2-year budget and the 4-year rates. So we had published all the Proposition 218 notices, et cetera. And we had a total of 9 protest letters, none from Canyon Lake residents. So it's just, again, setting the rates. Lots of challenges right now with costs, as you know, as you all are experiencing yourselves with electricity, cost of chemicals, et cetera. And our imported water costs continue to go up, and that's a majority of our budget. So, but I wanted to thank our board for that. I know that on Highway 74, I know that the traffic coming in eastbound can still be a little constrained. That's actually a sewer line going in that was a part of the ARPA. That was Supervisor Jeffrey's kind of last project for the region that he got through the ARPA funding. And we're hoping to have that done here in the next couple months and at least open up Highway 74. So the line will go almost up to Ethonac. And we're actually working with Congressman Takano to get a little more funding to take that line all the way to Ethonac. So knock on wood that can be done. But we know the federal budget process right now is a little hairy if you're watching the news. We will be receiving most likely the end of this week. I'm pushing next week because of the holidays, the final design for our Canyon Lake water treatment plant. And then we'll be reviewing all that and then going out for bid. Our plan is to go out for bid by the end of this year for construction. And just as a reminder for those who may not understand, our Canyon Lake water treatment plant is actually a drinking water plant. It takes the Canyon Lake water for drinking purposes throughout Canyon Lake and the system. It's not designed for treating the water in Canyon Lake and putting it back in, et cetera. So just wanted to do that. And then I know algae has been a big issue, the golden algae item. Eric, our team, the POA, ourselves, the city, and Leisure folks, as well as our consultants, had a meeting yesterday. They gave us a draft report of kind of some plans, what to do going forward. And Eric's got all the details, but basically we're going to do some additional sampling. The numbers, the density of the golden algae has declined significantly, which is a good sign. Fish kills I won't say are gone, but less. And so from that, we can determine what algicide we really want to do, if we need to do it. And we're kind of looking at a crawl, walk, run in that application potentially of a test area and then looking at expanding it out. So, and we're also talking some mid and long-term aspects to being more proactive in the future and putting some technology together, but that's a whole separate project type. So I know Eric probably has some updates for the board regarding to that. So that's about it for the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. And I guess I wish you all a very safe and enjoyable 4th of July. And let's enjoy.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I want to thank you, you as the general manager, and the partnership we've got with the water district. Obviously, what's going on in our lake, the health of our lake, is a significant concern to our community. We had over 300 people here last month raising concerns because it's our biggest asset and amenity. And we appreciate the partnership we had. For everyone's information, I don't know if you know how much you know, but there's a task force that consists of the Water District, the Lake Elsinore San Jacinto Water Authority, the Santa Ana Water Project Authority, I guess it is, and the City of Canyon Lake. And they've been meeting, Eric's part of that task force, they've been meeting on a weekly basis. We've been sampling the water on a weekly basis. And we really appreciate the urgency and the attention and the dedication that you've given to that situation, because it is near and dear to all of us. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Greg? All right, Greg, thank you so much. Mayor Terry, did you want to come and talk to us?
Good evening. We had a roundtable meeting last week, just to let our residents know. There were really two discussions. One obviously was about water, but more importantly, I feel very satisfied with how the POA, RSO, Canyon Lake Fire Department are prepared for this upcoming 4th of July weekend. And, public safety is our #1 concern. And a lot of that kind of is reliant upon our residents. Watch your neighbor and also respect your neighbor, and absolutely no fireworks. And the less problems we have, the more fun we have. I also want to say that we are dark in July. Now, the city hall is still up and working, but we will not be having a meeting in July. And lastly, I would like to compliment the Property Owners Association, Lake Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, Alejua, and for your efforts on a weekly basis. I feel that our residents have an understanding that there is, the lake is sick right now. And I just want to say on behalf of the city of Canyon Lake, I appreciate you guys making this a priority. And we do look forward to hearing more updates in the upcoming weeks. And good job. That's it.
Thank you, Mark. Again, we appreciate your partnership too. It takes all of us, takes both of us with our combined authorities to do the best for this community. And so thank you for your leadership there. Any questions or comments for the mayor? Mark, thank you. Have a good weekend. Look forward to seeing you out there. All right, we are going to move into a couple of presentations. First by our community patrol, Ken and Zach. If you please come forward and let us talk to us about what's going on and what's coming up in the community security.
We're going to change things up a little bit here. Rather than read you what you can read online, Zach and I are going to take some topics and discuss them with you. So, Zach, off you go.
Good evening. So some things that we've noticed in trends over the last couple of months, some monthly reports that we want to bring to everybody's attention, is e-bikes. We want to let everybody know right now that we've seen the huge issue of the e-bikes having their tags tucked and not trying to have them registered. You'll see a lot of times now where you're going to see the gate guards doing a full walk around inspection of everybody coming in on a bike to make sure that it's registered. If you do not have it registered, I will tell you right now, you will be receiving a citation for that. In that regards to speeding, I know there's been a lot of topic about speeding in the community, a lot of people being concerned about that. I will tell you right now, we are well aware of some areas, and I want to provide everybody a little bit of a heads up. When you're coming in through Northgate, the speed limit does drop down to 20 and it goes to 35 and it stays at 35 max. You're no longer on Greenwald where you're going 45 and up. In regards to Eastgate, we have a lot of pedestrians over there. That's one of our heavy traffic areas where you have everybody riding on their bikes. They're walking with their family. We want to make sure everybody's staying safe in that area. So we're asking for everybody to make sure you are following the speed limit in that area. We will be enforcing. I'd also like to talk about 4th of July a little bit for a second. I want to let everybody know what to expect from the security team for where the road closures will be at, for when we're going to be shutting things down. Because every year we all know we always have the one person that was running late and gets stopped at the barricade. At Strawberry Lane, we will be shutting down the road right there on Longhorn to Happy Camp at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You will be allowed to still walk in to the area, but you will to drive in, you do need a Happy Camp pass. For the rest of the closures, such as Village Way, Cane Lake Drive South, Cane Club and Lighthouse, Lighthouse and Vacation, Blue Teal on the main causeway side of things, as well as Cane Lake Drive North, Vacation and Cane Lake Drive North will all have hard closures at 8:30 p.m. Strawberry Lane will also become a hard closure at that time. That means pedestrian traffic and vehicle traffic will no longer be allowed through at that time because the show will be starting at that, right, just 30 minutes after that. I would also like to remind everybody that we know that traffic is going to be busy on the 4th of July. So when you send your friend to the store to go buy more chips, please don't give them the POA card. We will take that and we'll also issue a citation for that as well too. They need to follow proper process to get back in. There are no shortcuts to get back into the community.
Any questions for Zach?
So Zach, can you, we have a big family coming. We want to put a big easy up out on Sunset Beach. And I used to get there 2 in the morning or so. What's the right time for me to go out there and put my stuff out?
Great question, Bill. So we will actually have people out there to make sure nobody is at Sunset Beach before 6 a.m. So do not show up at 5 o'clock in the morning. There will be a security guard telling you to put it back in the car and go away. And then we'll have you come back at 6 a.m. and go ahead and let you in at that time.
And there will probably be a line like there was last year for the diehards, and there's room for everybody. We did see that. So my turn. I want to talk about the bike safety fair that we had on June 14th. And I'm going to start by thanking the city and the Firefighters Association for sharing the space with us in the parking lot across the street. We didn't have the turnout that we wanted, but those who did show up had a great time, learned a lot. And as we talk about the stick, we also have the carrot to encourage kids to learn how to ride. We had some prizes, some raffle prizes. We had a vendor that gave some safety equipment as prizes. CHP showed up and donated a half a dozen helmets for the community. So if we find a kid who's riding a pedal bike and doesn't have a helmet, can't afford it, we have a couple that are like, hey, here you go, So that was really a bonus from CHP. If you see the pictures here, this was a great opportunity for the kids to work with the community patrol in a positive environment, have some training and learning from them, and get to know that it's okay to talk to these guys in uniform. I'd also like to thank the 4 members of the Security Advisory Committee that came to help us out. That would be Chris Hickok, Saul Linver, Terry Jarvis, and Daryl Jackson. They spent all day out in the hot sun with me, helped me set up and tear down, and were great with the kids. So thank you guys very much. We're looking forward to doing this again on a cooler day inside the gates. And I've already talked to one club, and we're looking to find some sponsorships to see if we can have them own it. And then Zach and I partner with them and bring that to the community. So one of those little ideas we tested, and we think it's going to go as an annual event, get the youngsters out there on bikes to have fun. My 4th of July piece, we will have the causeway, the main causeway closed for the fireworks. This year, we're going to create, at the request of the fire chief, an emergency vehicle only lane. So as far as the viewing area, the grass on the inner part of the arch on that will be the perfect place to sit and watch the fireworks. On the other side, we're going to have a lane dedicated 24 feet wide is what they asked for, so we can get fire trucks and police cars on the other side of the community if necessary. I think we're going to have lots of room. I was down there last year when we did the fireworks on the causeway, and we should be able to, everybody, there's room for everybody there, so we should be good to go. On the next one, of course, we have the safety area around Skipper's Island. There's going to be buoys indicating with flashing red lights. You can tie off on the outer side or just on the outside the buoys, but there's going to be plenty of patrol boats out there monitoring that. So please advise that is for your safety, because what goes up must come down, and sometimes it's going to be hot. So let's let it take a splash and not hit your gas tank. And that's all that I need to say about that. So thank you very much. Let's talk about stop sign enforcement. We have seen well, I'll start with, okay, the stop signs are there to get you to allow for traffic control, to control the traffic. It's not really there to slow people down. It's really there to prevent collisions at the intersections. 2. There you go. Thank you, ma'am. She's multitasking, but she's doing great. So here are, I'd like to say, our favorite intersections. Any fishermen in the group? Fisherwomen in the group? You go to the spot where the fish are, right? Right there. Vacation and Canyon Lake. And just in the month of May, 59 stop sign infractions at that intersection. And everything's on the dash cam of the patrol car. So we see the officers drive up and park, and the engine doesn't get cold, and then somebody drives by them and off they go. So it's very easy. And then hoof-beaten Longhorn comes in at a distant second. Now, I'll tell you, this is the hard one for me to see, because right across the way from this intersection is where little kids take their e-bikes to go play baseball, and little kids go to the equestrian center to get their horse lesson. And there's a lot of kids through there. So that's the one that I'd really like to see. I mean, they literally did everything they've got a flashing stop sign. They've got a sign that tells you there's a sign coming from those 2 directions. So let's take a look at that one. And then here's some citation statistics. In the month of February, there was a big push. Late January, early February, I pushed the community patrol to start writing moving violation citations. So you'll see the spike in February, and social media lit up, and there was a lot of conversation about that. But you look at March and April, those things got cut in half. So by doing the enforcement, we can show through at least this statistic that it had an impact on the community, and the stop signs next to the speed enforcement had the same ratio of change. So good job on that for both stop signs and that. So now, if you like a little giggle, here are the most common responses when we get to your window and ask you for your driver's license. I know I stopped, you're wrong. Does the DMV hear about this? Let me see the video. And by the way, they will. The video is right there in the car, and it's officer's discretion as long as the person isn't being out of line. Come on back and look at the video. They'll show you, and people go, okay, and then they go pay the ticket. Yeah, I know, but I went slow and I looked around and it was safe. Sorry. One of my favorites, California stops don't count. And then here, do you have the authority to pull me over? Yes. And we're not pulling you over as much as we are just playing a siren to get your attention so we can talk about your behavior. That's all. And that's it. Thank you very much.
If you have a question, please come up and talk to the mic, please, so that people online can hear as well.
Ron Wilbur, 2846-221. Question for you, Zach. What and who does any fireworks enforcement for residents? Because I live near the East Gate. We have the best fireworks show, second to the one out here. And it's coming all over my neighbors and all over my house too.
I'll go ahead and take that for him. He does, and he will, and his team enforces that. But let me tell you that everyone in this room and everyone in the community has a cell phone, and they take pictures. And we'll take anonymous submissions with information, and we have cited based on those successfully. And I think the community needs to know that they're out there, and we have a CCTV camera program with the community. So we have over 100 residents that are already submitting things from their home video systems, which is wonderful. And I think we've gotten to a point where we're ready for e-bikes to be different. We're ready for fireworks to be different. And speaking as a dog owner, just on that piece, the fireworks thing is terrible. They're fun, but go to the desert and do them, not in the community. So we are enforcing. We will be looking for that. RSO will be enforcing. The city will be enforcing. In fact, I just spoke with the fire department yesterday, and they're waiting to hear from me on any resolutions that might be coming up. So we will be able to speak to them on what the fines are going to be so we can publish together in partnership with the city. So absolutely, we can't get them all, but we're trying.
And they will be available on July 4th.
I'm sorry, what will be available?
There will be patrol available on July 4th.
Yes, we're going to maintain our normal community patrol and bring in extra people for the event, for the road closures. Absolutely.
Well, I made the mistake of calling the sheriff's department the last time there was a loud bang. He said, no, it's just fireworks. We're not going to enforce that. So they apparently don't have the authority you have. And that's why I asked the question.
I will tell you that last year there was an undercover task force for fireworks, and they were going from city to city in plain vehicles and made several arrests. And they did come through Canyon Lake last year.
And they are making arrests. RSO has made a point of it.
Yep.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Another question? Go ahead first. Go ahead. One, then two. Go ahead.
Stan Young, forever young. I haven't committed the number to memory, but it's 3869043. Your security patrol is doing an outstanding job, first of all, and thank you for your service. I really appreciate, I'm kind of like a numbers guy and stats guy, and I appreciate the numbers that we can actually, view. Question for you. When I live on Lighthouse. I have a lot of senior citizens. I have kids that are learning how to drive. When your patrol cars, they go by and all of a sudden I hear this siren. And now to me, they're in pursuit. How many times are the patrol officers or your security guards going into pursuit? Do you have the stats? Because pursuits can be very dangerous for both the pursuee and maybe an elder person that's coming out of a driveway or a youngster that's learning how to drive when you got them trying to, catch these e-bikes.
I'm actually very happy you asked that question because we don't break any rules or regulations of the road. We don't speed. We're not going to spin tires. I'm not going to run the stop sign to go after you. Safety is still our priority. As Ken mentioned earlier, I'm just turning on a siren to try to get your attention. I'm not going to get up on your bumper and force you off to the side. I'm not going to pit maneuver you. I'm just trying to ask you to pull over and try to make everybody else alert that somebody else is being reckless on the road.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's just that, that street that I live on is very popular. And I've seen several pursuits. So I just, as long as maybe that we address that to where it doesn't have to be where someone, got injured. Just wanted to bring that to you.
Anytime you have a concern, you can feel free to reach out to my office. I'll be happy to sit down with you and we could talk everything over. I would love to hear about any concerns.
I appreciate you. Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you, Stan.
Still on. Kathy Lekawa, 3778008. Thank you for the statistics. I just had a question though, because your stats on page 95 show stops at a stop sign increasing almost 50%, but the chart you showed them decreasing. Is there a,
Those statistics are for the last quarter of last year, so that's February, March, and April specifically. And then when you get into May and June, you're going to see an increase because it's summertime. So that's a normal bump that we're going to see. We don't have a full year of statistics, so we can have the full graph. And as we continue to, they're enforcing the way they were enforcing in January is what they're enforcing now. They're dedicating time to stop sign and speed enforcement. So when we get a full year of statistics, we'll be able to explain back to school season, all those other things. Those are just the last quarter of last year.
last year?
The last fiscal, right.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
all good.
that the stats were in the back. Okay, thanks.
You bet.
And just to let you know, the last fiscal year ended in April. So it was, it was February, March, April. And what's in this report today is in the back of your deck there is May. So that's the first period of this fiscal year. All right. Any other questions for Community Patrol, please?
I have an observation that relates directly to Kathy's question and also to the comments that Ken made about speeding. I attend the Appeals Committee meeting quite a bit where speeding violations and stop signs and so forth, people come and try to appeal and get out of the ticket one way or another. Ken put his 6 top reasons why people say I didn't do it or I don't deserve the ticket, but he left out the second one, or maybe maybe it was his 7th one, I should say, that I hear all the time. And it's this: I've lived here 34 years and I've never gotten a ticket. And I'm here to tell you, attending all of those meetings that I do and listening to that excuse, which comes up fairly often, it's not going to work. In the absence of some extenuating circumstances, which sometimes there are, that isn't going to fly, especially nowadays with the advent of the video cameras that they use. So just beware. I'm pleased with these statistics. I'm pleased of their work, and I'm pleased that the community is getting safer because of their efforts. Thank you.
Anyone else? Love the new format, guys. Really like it. Great presentation. Thank you for that. Thanks for your service. Look forward to all the good work you're doing this weekend for us. All right, with that, we have a presentation of the Member of the Month, and Director Doherty is going to lead that for us for this special member.
So tonight, I am very honored to be giving this Member of the Month award to Rob Mora, who's sitting right there. So let me tell you a little bit about Rob. A proud California native, Rob was born and raised in the South Bay, where an early love of sports and the outdoors became a lifelong passion. A multi-sport athlete in high school and a collegiate soccer player, Rob has remained active through snowboarding, wakeboarding, hydrofoiling, and just about anything that involves water or mountains. When he and his family aren't in Canyon Lake, they're often in Lake Havasu enjoying boating and jet skiing. A devoted Dodgers fan, he rarely misses a game and can often be spotted in his signature blue LA Dodgers cap. Professionally, Rob began a successful career with Home Depot, specializing in new store openings across North County, San Diego, and serving as store manager for 13 years. In the second half of his career, he transitioned into the oil and gas industry, leading safety and new construction projects at Phillips 66 and other local South Bay refineries. Rob is widely known for his hands-on skill set. There's almost nothing he can't fix or build. From large-scale projects to custom odd jobs, he's regularly called upon by his family, friends, and neighbors to help, whether it's selling a boat, renovating a home, or building a golf cart or float for the next Canyon Lake Parade. In 2004, Rob relocated to Canyon Lake to begin a new chapter with his partner, Laney. Together, they raised a blended family of 5 children and now enjoy sharing lake life with their grandchildren. Rob and Laney's home is a gathering spot for both family and friends, a place known for laughter, great food, and the occasional golf cart repair in the driveway. Deeply committed to giving back, Rob has been an active contributor to the Canyon Lake community, culminating in his service as the current Commodore of the Canyon Lake Yacht Club. Following a year as Vice Commodore, where I had the pleasure of working with him and Ron Wilbur, also in the house tonight, and gave the Pledge of Allegiance. I was the purser under those guys, and it was a very, very good experience, a year of great growth. Under Rob's leadership, the Yacht Club has flourished into an inclusive and vibrant organization that offers opportunities for all residents to connect and participate. Rob is the kind of neighbor who always says yes, whether it's volunteering at local events, stepping up to help fellow residents in a pinch, or offering his tools and time without hesitation. He's known for his reliability, humility. Is that true? Never mind. And generosity for sure. Rob, we salute you. Please step up and get your Member of the Month award.
Just real quick, 3777012. I first would like to thank the POA board and staff for this incredible accomplishment award that you've given me tonight. And I wanted to say thanks for the Canyon Lake Yacht Club for representing here tonight, and some of my friends that are close and near and dear to me. It's kind of hard to talk this way and want to acknowledge everybody behind me, but they can see my bald spot. I love this lake. It's been a fabulous 21 years. We've raised our kids here. We now have grandchildren here. The lake life, there's nothing like it. And as Commodore, it's been such a blessing to work alongside with Ron Wilbur, Greg, and the others that are here behind me over the past couple of years, and to see the strides that we've done, not only as a club, but also as a community. I just love nothing more than what we have here in Canyon Lake. I will die here in Canyon Lake. I'm never leaving. And I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with everybody behind me and celebrating the great opportunities that we have as a community. Thank you very much.
You know, in addition to all the positive things that Greg said, we appreciate the leadership you brought to the yacht club, and the yacht club steps up for an awful lot of things. They provided rides from one park to the other for during Fiesta Days, which we greatly appreciate that because I know parking can sometimes be limited. And so if people could park in one place and enjoy both parks, you know, it's a great thing that you do for the community. And they also, if people who were here for the Country Fest, they were the ones, we actually brought the bands over here and they did their kind of pre-concert preparation, and the yacht club took them all the way over to the concert and so forth. So they do a lot of great things. The boat parade, I mean, is one of the signature events, and you know, thank you, Rob, and thank you for the yacht club for all that. Oh yeah, and lake cleanup, yeah, and the list goes on and on. And that's right, he is a pirate too. I've seen him. All right, next we're going to go on. We have a few announcements because when we meet in executive session, we usually talk about legal matters and disciplinary matters and staff direction and such. But this time we had a lot to talk about of other things, and so we want to bring you up to speed on some of the things that happened there. And we're going to begin with an update on the lake, what's going on. Again, it's of interest to most of us. And Eric, could you please take us through kind of a summary of what's where we are?
Yeah, let me find my notes here somewhere. Let's see. So we have we're calling it the Canyon Lake Task Force. There is a regional task force, but for the golden algae issue, we have a kind of a regularly scheduled gathering now of Steve Schneider and myself from the POA, 3 or 4 staff members, including Greg Thomas, who was here from EBMWD, the manager of Lejua, Rick Wetzel, who was here the other night when we talked about fish, and Aaron Brown from the city. Am I leaving anybody out? Once in a while, representative from Santa Ana Watershed Authority. Anyway, we've been meeting every couple of weeks. We had a meeting, was it Friday? Friday at 4 o'clock. And a quick recap of that is we've decided that we're going to take samples again on July 8th. And following those samples, we will be testing for the following things: golden algae toxins, and which is something we haven't been testing for. We've been testing for cell density, not specific toxins. And so that'll be a new test that we're not really going to have anything to compare to here in Canyon Lake, but kind of will show us where we're at this stage in our bloom. So a little more information, a little more in depth. We will be testing for golden algae toxicity again. And the way that test is conducted is they take fathead minnows, which are 24 hours old, and they're very sensitive to anything abnormal in a lake. And when we had our original golden algae bloom, they took water samples from the lake and they put these fathead minnows in the water sample, and they all died within 2 hours. And the most recent tests, which we have published and that you have seen, show that the golden algae cell densities are way less now. And the most recent test, they also did an acute toxicity test, the same test, and they took samples of our Canyon Lake water and put those fathead minnows in there, and 70% of them survived 3 hours and still going, which is pretty fantastic news. A little easier to understand. The fish died. The fish now less of them are dying. Pretty layman's terms, but that's what's happening. And so that's a very good thing for us. It's sort of a real world explanation of the cell density counts that we're seeing. They also filtered the water. In the most recent samples they took, and 100% of the fish in the filtered water lived, which means filtering out the golden algae cells causes the water to be not toxic to them and no toxins remaining. So that's a little bit encouraging that if we did do some form of treatment, that the toxins wouldn't remain. However, I've learned a lot about, I thought I was pretty up on lake technology until recently, and now I know a lot more than I did. What was my point? Totally lost my train of thought. Let's see, filtered water. Cysts, algae cysts. Trying to follow my own notes. So there are golden algae cells present in the lake in a golden algae bloom. But after a bloom, before a bloom and after a bloom, golden algae lives in cysts in the sediment on the bottom of the lake. And we learned on our most recent call that in 2014, there was a golden algae bloom in Lake Menifee and big fish kill. And we think they treated with algicide. I haven't seen facts on that. That's just anecdotal information. Supposedly there's an article circulating. Well, it's possible that we got cysts with golden algae in them into Canyon Lake from that bloom upstream 10, 11 years ago, and that they've lived dormant in our lake for 11 years. And all the environmental conditions, the water temperature and air temperature and everything was just right for those cysts to bloom. We are looking at some various treatment options. Right now, the lake is appearing to get better on its own, but if we did treat with some sort of algicide, and we are looking at costs and options and different application methods, different chemicals, and weighing those options. If we do treat, it would kill the golden algae cells, but not the cysts that are probably still in our lake bottom. And so the point of saying that is that at any time, like these cysts that laid dormant for probably the last 11 years and bloomed, we could treat the remaining living golden algae cells, but that probably wouldn't do anything to affect the cysts. And so we could get another bloom if the conditions were right. So what we're doing now is we're drafting a plan for a pilot application study. We may do like a part of East Bay or all of East Bay. Our consultants are putting together a matrix of costs, various options. We should have the test results from the July 8th sampling. We're meeting again on July 10th. My notes say the 10th. I think it's the 14th. Water is warming up. We're all hoping that the cell density of golden algae will continue to drop. Everybody's recognizing that the lake looks better and there's generally less dead fish, which is good news. And that's pretty much my update. So we're meeting on a regular basis. The lake appears to be getting better. Everyone's engaged. We're all concerned, and this was a pretty shocking thing that just kind of hit us blindside, and now we're looking forward and what kind of monitoring protocols are we going to establish? How often will we sample? What kind of tests are we going to run? And what are our possible treatment options? So we're very on top of this and talking on a regular basis.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. One of the things I want to add is that the board did ask Eric to ask the task force. We want to see a matrix of what are the full ranges of different algicides that could be used to do the treatment. What are the advantages of each? What are the disadvantages of each? What consequences might have, and what are the costs? And they provided an excellent initial report to us that we got yesterday, and is contributing to this continuing plan. But what was great about the report, at least after one day of reading, is it had both short and long-term actions, and it will probably require both for a solution for our community. But the task force has done a great job really stepping up to this overall. I want to add one bit of news, and that is the HAB tests, which are the hazardous algae blooms that we test for before every holiday. And the hazardous algae bloom testing was done, and there are no hazardous algae bloom toxins. Is that correct, Eric? Yeah. Question, please come forward. If you could please come up to the mic, just because that way people online can hear your question as well. Thank you.
As Vorticella. From my research, and I have background in science from being a science teacher on the East Coast, it appeared, well, this is a very unusual species. It has super large genes and it produces super large proteins. Hence, you get the cysts that are lying at the bottom of the lake. According to the research I found here, and I did talk to Rich Wetzel at the San Jacinto Water Authority. The latest research shows that the use of clay minerals to flocate, which is to form into lumpy aggregated masses, and sediment algae blooms from the water column has shown promise in laboratory and field trials. The practice of adding clay slurries directly over an algae bloom subsequently forms aggregates of algal cells and clays that settle out of the water column. Algal cell removal efficiency appears to be best when clays and chemical flocculants are combined, and that Senjo and Anderson research date 2005. So I would advance that this particular organism has been tremendously understudied. Texas first noticed the problem, and some of the oldest studies on the organism generate from the state of Texas. We did have a very tragic experience with this organism in a lake community in Mission Viejo, where the lake is now dead because whatever they chose to do is they release some agent that would be degrading the algae, but it really didn't. And the slow release allowed it to multiply. So it became more deadly, and it literally made the lake dead. So what I'm going to do is give you my research paper, and I will let you look at it. No, I don't.
I would like to respond to that also, that we have been in touch with the biologist from Lake Mission Viejo. We've heard a lot of anecdotal information. I've spoken to our scientists and consultants and this task force team about Lake Mission Viejo, and their biologist, their staff biologist, and our biologist working on Canyon Lake have spoken with each other last week. And so they're collaborating. We're very familiar with what happened there, and the two biologists are speaking. Right. Understand, yeah.
Yeah. And we appreciate the
Thank you.
feedback, input. We're all learning from this. And yeah, we've been in deep contact with East Lake Village and Yorba Linda. They had a lake, and as Eric said, Lake Mission Viejo, we've had their biologists here as well. So yeah, we're trying to learn from everyone and appreciate your input. So thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right. So another thing that we said we would do last month, but last month we had a lot going on. Oh, was there another comment? No. We had a lot going on last month. So this is a new board that just got their first board meeting was the marathon one we had last month. We're happy to say, I hate to say, but we're happy to see fewer of you here today. It goes a little, but one of the things we said whenever we get a new board is we say, what are our goals and objectives for the coming year? And we will hold ourselves accountable to them. And then we'll kind of status it on a quarterly basis and let you know how we're doing. Welcome the feedback from the community as well in terms of how you think we're doing. But what we did overall is we had 5 major objectives that we feel the board is responsible for. One is we need to exercise increased fiscal control and financial management over the community. We need to enhance community safety and security. We need to execute the projects that are approved as committed. We need to demonstrate effective leadership, and we need to enhance the community member experience. And within each of those tasks or goals and objectives, we set other ways on how we're going to measure ourselves on how we do. So for instance, under increased fiscal control, the way we'll measure that is, are we operating within the approved budgets? Do we meet budget or not meet budget? We plan to create dashboards to increase insight and enable early corrective action so that we don't go a long time where things are falling out of whack and you can't correct for it. We aim to minimize dues increases at or below the CPI index. We aim to control costs and reduce subsidies at restaurants over the prior year. That's a measurement. And we need to balance spending and savings to improve our reserves. So those are the things we're committed to on a financial basis. For community safety and security, we're committed to address e-bike challenges, specifically by updating our e-bike policies, by increasing enforcement in hotspots, and by, if I can read my notes, securing the perimeter control. Okay, and you'll hear more about that later. We are looking to enhance community cameras and surveillance, and we have a number of cameras throughout the community. We have over 300 cameras throughout the community, but the best ones that we get when there are issues is this one that's in all of our pockets. As Ken said before, if you see it, take a picture and say it, send it to security@canyonlakepoa.com, and it does help us with the overall security. And we're going to create a secure motorcycle parking facility and improve security metrics, collection and reporting. You saw a bit of that today, which is good. We're committed to execute projects as committed by actively participating efforts with the water authorities to improve the overall health of our lake. And you're seeing that in progress. We intend to award and complete the $3 million Phase 3 road repair project within budget. You'll hear more about that as well. We plan to implement proactive maintenance efforts to avoid decay or catastrophic failures at amenities such as we experienced within the last year. We want to make sure that doesn't happen again. We're installing signage at the North Gate, Black Horse, and Sorrel communities, and we're developing long-range plans for future improvements at the existing major amenities, which include the golf course, golf field, campground, and equestrian center. To demonstrate effective leadership, we will operate with transparency by providing accessible information and consistent reporting to the community. We'll develop a response to community survey and communicate that to everyone as what we're doing in response to the feedback that you gave us. We will foster and continue to foster effective relationships with the City of Canyon Lake and the EBMWD. And we'll revitalize our committees and engage the membership more broadly. And as far as enhancing the community member experience, we want to do the things that we enjoy the most. We want to sustain the Canyon Lake community culture and events, and that's Fiesta Days, Country Fest, 4th of July, Taco Tuesdays, movie nights, concerts at the lodge, all the things that we all participate in and enjoy that make us a community. We're working to improve the customer service experience, both within the POA and also within planning and compliance. We'll continue to work and enhance our community communication effectiveness. And one of the things that we will be doing at the end of the year is promoting a ballot initiative to implement some of the bylaw changes based on lessons learned from the last election. So those are all measures that we're going to do to implement those 5 objectives. Any questions? It is not, but it will be. This will be. We're going to clean it up. The ink is still a little wet, so I got to make sure I don't smudge it. And we'll clean that up, and it will be put on the website as soon as it's finished. So yeah, it'll be coming. All right. So the next thing is we approved an emergency resolution, and I'd like to read the resolution. So. The Board of Directors, the Canyon Lake community has become an increasingly popular destination for Canyon Lake CLPOA residents, guests during holidays, particularly the summer holidays of Memorial Day, Fiesta Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day. The board has learned that the remaining summer holidays, the 4th of July and Labor Day, are likely to receive a very large volume of guests, sometimes tripling our community population. Many of those guests are anticipated to be on e-bikes and other personal electronic vehicles like scooters, electric skateboards, one wheels, etc. We call all of those personal electric vehicles, which we permit subject to our existing operating rules and CCNRs. The summer holidays also have experienced an increase in reckless and dangerous behavior in our common areas, particularly in boats and land-based vehicles. Our POA's current operating rules and fine schedule are unlikely to deter and safely accommodate the increased number of guests that are expected for the remaining summer holidays. So to safely manage the anticipated large volume of guests into the Canyon Lake community for the 4th of July and Labor Day holidays, to dissuade reckless and dangerous behavior and reduce the risk of injury to person and property, the board adopts the rule changes set forth below on an emergency basis and for the foreseeable future, given the immediacy of the 4th of July and Labor Day holidays. So consistent with the CLPOA's obligation to maintain the common area and for the welfare of the CLPOA community, the Board of Directors adopt the following resolution. For the next 75 days, we hereby triple fines associated with certain rules designated to promote safety. I'll list the rules I will go through afterwards, but there's a list attached of the number of rules. Number 2, we are going to require identification for all entry to the Canyon Lake community from any entrance on any personal electronic vehicle, any other vehicle, or by foot. Acceptable forms of identification include valid and current CLPOA issued identification or POA card, federal government issued identification, state issued identification, or school issued identification, electronic or hard copy. We will require all guests to enter, whether it be in an e-bike or a car, driving a car, to be on the guest list prior to entry to the Canyon Lake community. This is approved July 1st, this afternoon. Now, just to let you know the rules this includes, it includes harassment, first offense, any offensive harassment, any physical abuse, any indiscriminate shooting of a firearm, any fireworks, malicious mischief, fighting, aggravated nuisance, noxious or offensive conduct, no use and or operation of any vehicle, vessel, e-bike, golf cart, or any other vehicle while under the influence, no alcohol, open container, a maximum speed limit over what's posted is considered reckless driving, speed exhibitions, evading community patrol, failure to comply, failure to stop for a stop sign, reckless driving, prohibited vehicles, passengers, reckless behavior, speed limits in the main lake ski area, temporary restricted speeds, life jackets for minors, right of way, following it counterclockwise, planted on the lake, jet skis, motorized boards, personal motorized watercraft, safe distance required for towing or wake enhancing devices. All of those will be tripled over the holiday weekends. Any questions? Did we miss any? Okay. In addition, we have a couple of new charters for new committees, and I'm going to turn it over to Bill Medved to talk about the new Lake Management Committee charter, and then to Laney Cooney for the Equestrian Working Group charter.
So today the board approved a new Lake Management Committee charter with some minor edits. So you'll see that on the website in the next couple of days. The main focus is several areas. Reviewing and tracking water quality, and this will be an ongoing mission. When I first was introduced to this opportunity for us to expand our view into the lake, I went back to 1986 and I found a lot of recurring instances of some sort of thing happening in the lake that required some sort of response. So our goal here is to try to keep an ongoing, steady look at the lake, the testing, the monitoring, talking to our fishermen, talking to people on the boats, and make sure that we track it on an ongoing basis. In addition, we'll be collaborating with the community and government agencies. Now, what that means is the committee will attend some meetings, get the views, bring back their points to the board, and make any particular recommendations they might, but they are not a decision-making body like any committee in Canyon Lake. So we're currently looking for members with experience. The charter will be up in a couple days. There's a pretty good list in there of things that we're looking for. Generally speaking, we're looking for people with backgrounds in environmental sciences, engineering, public policy, and community leadership. So we're looking forward to getting this kicked off. This is in response to the overwhelming member requests that, hey, let's be a little more proactive. Let's look at the long term. And we've collaborated with Eric and his team in pulling this charter together. Thank you.
So the next new charter that we have agreed upon and approved is the Equestrian Center Work Group. Try to make that into a nice little acronym, okay? I think there's a general recognition that horses are a special breed and that we might need some additional assistance in making sure that we are doing our best in terms of serving them and operating the facility. And so with that, we are kicking off the Equestrian Center Work Group and Equestrian Center Work Group Board, which will be kind of the head, if you will, of the work group. The responsibilities primary responsibility of the ECWG, I told you those four letters do not go together very well, is to support the functionality, the aesthetics, the operation, and the community use of the Canyon Lake Equestrian Center. The ECWG will advise and assist the board, general manager, and staff in identifying operational improvements, safety enhancement, and member engagement strategies to support the Equestrian Center. There's a whole list, and I'm not going to, it'll be posted. I've got a few edits, but not many, and we'll get the charter up. But essentially, it will also look to build a stronger relationship with the community at large. So there are many, many people who may not be boarders at the Equestrian Center, but really would like to be part of it, whether to help fix, repair, improve, build, whatever it may be, as well as giving a wider ability for recreational activities and hopefully money-making activities for the group. We are, as Bill said, accepting applications for the work group membership as well as for the work group board. And so some have come in, and please submit them. We'll finalize the charter and have it up online within a couple of days. And then lastly, we'll get all of the applications and we will reach out to you. I think, Andrea, you reach out first to set up the meetings and interviews?
So we'll get all the applications together, and then the board and the staff liaison will get together, and then I think they'll start inviting people, correct?
Thank you. And we are looking obviously for people who have experience with horses. That should not be a big surprise. Also with, operations, but also just in general with a lot of, facilities work in the past or volunteerism. I'm really excited about this working group and this working group board. I know operations is looking forward to the partnership, and if you're interested, get involved. And if you're not involved, then you're missing out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lainey and Bill. Do we have any member comments?
I just have one for Sharon Curcio. Was that your comment during the lake? Okay, so don't want to come back up?
Great,
Okay.
thank you. All right. Well, then we'll move into our normally scheduled business. So let's see, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent agenda, items A and B, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
Okay. All right, well, Cheryl,
Cheryl's not here. We're gonna.
or AKA Dave, you have a lot of things to go over with us this evening.
As I said, I'm a very poor substitute for Cheryl, but she isn't feeling well this evening, so I'm going to do my best to muddle through her 28-day readings. I have 5 different PCs that we're going to do 28-day readings. The first is PC 5.13. Now, these are all correlated with each other. The rule revision is regarding the removal of registered civil engineer and maintaining the requirement of a licensed land survey for all property line verifications. The property line verification, they are required for all new structures, pools, and utility placements to keep these improvements out of the setbacks per PC 3.1. Basically, no improvement is to be allowed in the defined setback, and that area is to be kept free from improvements. Basically, the rear setback usually 30 feet, the 2 sides are 5, and then the front setback depends on where you live. It can be 9 feet plus 20 or 12 feet plus 20. It depends on which street you're on. We need to keep those clear. That's why we want to switch to licensed land surveyor because before 1982, civil engineers had broad authority, including land surveying, but this overlap sometimes led to confusion or disputes over professional responsibilities. So the state of California made a change, and it helped clarify and delineate the scope of the practice between civil engineers and land surveyors, reducing the liability issues and improving accountabilities.
Is there,
Also on, same with PC 5.13, we did have to remove one line on PC 5.13 with doing pools. We used to write a hose may be used for new permit applications for an in-ground pool to be plumbed to a permanent line, draining the pool equipment to sanitary sewer through a P-trap and an air gap. EVM deputy wished us to strike that. So we're kicking that one out.
Dave?
I will. Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve 28D reading for the Rule Revision PC 5.13 as attached.
Perfect, thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any member comments or on the matter? Board comments, questions? All pretty straightforward. All in favor? I'm in favor certainly of using I know if I have to put one in, I'd much rather hire a surveyor than a licensed engineer. They're a lot cheaper and easier to find, by the way. All in favor of approving the 28-day reading, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. The next is a 28-day reading for PC 6.4A. So while civil engineers still perform engineering surveys like construction, staking, topography, and mapping for design, boundary surveys and legal property descriptions now fall squarely under the PLS domain unless the engineer is grandfathered. And I think that is not listed here, but I think it was 1982 or before. Beyond that, if they're after that, then once again, we need a licensed land surveyor. That's pretty much the short of this one. It is recommended the Board of Directors approve 28-day reading for the rule revision for PC 6.4A as attached.
Thanks, Dave. Is there a motion for that one?
Motion.
Second.
Great. Member comments? Board comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
The next one is a 28-day reading for PC 9.5. It's exactly the same, only for boundary surveys and legal property descriptions. They'll now fall squarely under the PLS domain unless the engineer was again grandfathered before 1982. Everything else is exactly the same as the others. So it is recommended that the Board of Directors approve a 28-day reading for Rule Revision PC 9.5.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any member comments on this one? Board comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
The next one is PC 10.2B. This one, basically it covers all of 10.2. I misspoke. This was 10.2 is application requirements. Again, registered civil engineer for the same reasons stated as all the other ones.
Is there a motion for this one? We're getting so good at it. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Member comments? Board comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
All right, Dave, you're on a roll. One more.
I've got the one you wanted, the last one. This is Section 9, waterfront. The same background as previous. We just require a licensed land surveyor. No other changes to this. My notes don't say it, but we request it. You approve.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. Okay, member comments? Board comments, questions? All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Ken Toller.
I only have one 28-day read, but it's a big one. The Marine Patrol Captain Dave Martell and I have been working on this for about 9 months. The majority of this rule change is to reflect the current operations of the Marine Patrol. There was a time when the Community Patrol actually, we outsourced that. And when we took that back over as a company, this rule didn't get looked at. So we basically had to rewrite the whole thing to reflect what we're doing now. While doing so, Dave learned a lot from his contacts with Fish and Wildlife and really the spirit on why we have this rule. It's not about boat inspection, it's about the quality of the lake. So we'd like to first rebrand this as the Lake and Marina rules for boat inspection, change that to aquatic invasive species prevention, because that more reflects why we do the boat inspections and what our intent is. The third part of this, the biggest change is we're adding an option to increase service at the gates. We have many people that come with vessels that go in the ocean or go in the river that are too big for our lake. They never go in our lake, but yet they have to stop and get a red tag or they get a fine, and that red tag goes nowhere. So what we'd like to do is create a vehicle, and we're working with member services to get a sticker that goes on a boat voluntarily that will tell the officer at the gate, this boat isn't even registered with the POA. It never goes in the water, and you don't need to bring a patrol officer from the beat to come and do a red tag. They can go home with their boat because it's not going to go in the water. And that's of all the rules, even at the rules committee that we've spoken with them, a lot of boat owners there that were applauding that because they illustrated as we just got off a 5-hour drive. We can't wait to go home, but we got to stop and get a red tag, and we're never going to put our boat in the water. So that's the intent on that one major addition to this policy, or this rule, I'm sorry.
Is there a motion to approve this 28-day reading?
Second.
Any member comments or questions? Any board comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a question on LM 10.2. The red quarantine seal, I mean, based on what we've gone through with the lake in the last couple of months, this is a big risk. It's a big risk, allowing boats to come in that, you know, we're going to slap, and maybe I'm being naive, but, you know, to slap a red quarantine seal and presume everything's going to be okay concerns me, because that's how zebra mussels get into lakes quite often, is through boats, particularly private watercraft. So can you make me feel a little better about that, please?
I absolutely can. I've been prepared for that question, so thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
So we actually now have the reality that someone could do that now. We could give someone a red tag at the gate following that process, and they can still put their boat in their water without doing the inspection. So that reality exists now, but it's not happening because we've got great members and they're following the process, and they're not putting their sea boats or their boats that were in another body of water in ours because they can't, because they're too long to begin with. This is for the boats that will never go on our lake. They can't even be allowed in our water because of they're too long, or their ocean boats or what have you, they're too big. And honestly, and to further the argument, it's a lot easier to teach the officer at the gate what the red sticker looks like than what every boat that can't go in the lake looks like. And that was really our resolve to that, is to make it easier at the gate, get our members home and not clog the gates.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor of approving the 28-day reading, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Did so good, we might ask you to come back up. Nope, not yet, but Greg's next.
Okay, on May 22nd of this year, we adopted an emergency resolution on the eve of Fiesta Day, prohibiting the use of personal electric vehicles, including e-bikes, electric vehicles, and other devices at the Lodge Peninsula and the Holiday Harbor area, including the parking lot and launch ramp. This action was taken in response to ongoing safety concerns and incidents of reckless operation in these areas, particularly during holidays and major events. A 28-day reading was presented to the board and passed, and associated with a violation of this rule was a fine of $250 for the first offense and $500 for a subsequent offense. So tonight we are here to go beyond the 28-day reading and make this a permanent rule, and this is the action before us tonight.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any member comments? Yes, please come forward. Just wait till you get here, press the red button, and we'll love to hear what you have to say.
So it's important to have signage. So we need to have signage out there, right? So if we do approve this on Harbor and the Lodge, we need to have signage because there's nothing right now.
Agreed, that isn't the plan.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
comment, though. Yep. Any other member comments? Board comments?
Greg, can you elaborate a little bit? I'm looking on the map and we're talking about Canyon Club Drive west of Lighthouse Drive. So that kind of goes prior to the gates to those condos there. It looks like we're blocking it off there. Can you clarify? I know we spoke earlier about that. Can you clarify for everybody here exactly where the stop-start area is?
Well, on Fiesta Day, for sure, the Community Patrol had set up a blockade and entryway to enforce this rule at Lighthouse for the lodge. I believe, and I'd like some help here, that has been, I should have mentioned this, I apologize, that as a permanent rule, that blockade is going to be moved down to that first stop sign entering the peninsula of the lodge area. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
And that's a good catch.
Thank you, Greg.
Let me check and see for clarity. I believe we need to modify the background here to state that, because right now it does say on this write-up, Canyon Club Drive and Lighthouse Drive, and I think it's Canyon Club Drive right before the parking lot.
Correct.
And so do we need a subsidiary motion for that, or can we amend it as modified? Yep.
That's what
It says
we're talking about
Canyon
earlier
Club
today.
west of Lighthouse, so you were talking at the top stop sign.
Basically, right, the intent, the discussion, I believe the understanding intent is that we do it right before the stop sign, that right before you get in the parking lot, not way up at the,
Not at Lighthouse.
not at Lighthouse.
Okay, we can just make a subsidiary to modify it to say that.
You want to make that?
Okay, so make a motion to, subsidiary motion to modify that location to the entry to the parking lot.
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? So we have subsidiary motion in place as proposed. All in favor of approving the subsidiary motion, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
So last meeting, I presented a 28-day read for 3 rules that were underrepresented or under-enforced, under-followed by the public because the rules didn't have fines that had an impact.
Ken, it's a little hard to hear you. Can you?
I'll talk this way. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to look at you guys while I talk to you. I'm sorry. So last month, the 28-day read was started or agreed upon, voted on for the 3 rules, GR 2.7, 5.2, and 5.2B, to increase the fines. I'm now resubmitting this and asking, recommending that the board vote to approve these rule increases permanently.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Member comments, questions? Board comments or questions?
Just a clarification, because I can imagine people at home might be getting a little confused because we just said these were all tripled, right? So on this one, just so we're all clear, we have raised the first offense, which one am I looking at here? Fireworks, right? To $1,000,
Yes,
right? So that means if I light off a Roman candle,
$3,000.
Okay.
And that's when I get to call because if I'm correct, the fire department called and said the city's doing 4,000, I believe. We're going to get confirmation and publish that. We're going to publish both of those
so, but we know for sure it'll be 3,000
from the POA.
POA.
Correct.
Then you can also be fined by the
By the
fire,
city.
by the city.
Yes.
And then also by the fire department as well?
Well, the city would be the fire department, but to your point, also arrested by the sheriff's department if they show up.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yes, ma'am.
So it can be X 3 times 3, depending on what their fine structure is.
It'd be a very bad day for a bad decision. Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments?
I just want to thank you guys for putting that together. It's going to be an expensive fireworks show in your driveway if you do this. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
All right, all in favor of approving this item, a change to the fine schedule, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Tiffany.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm presenting the revised facility use policy for your consideration. The current policy was last updated in 2015 and it's outdated and inconsistent. It lacks clarity on reservation priorities. It varies in rules across facilities and it leaves out some key procedures like cancellations and permitted uses, and it leaves those open to interpretation. This has caused some scheduling conflicts, inconsistent enforcement, and member confusion. The revised policy establishes a standardized, transparent framework for reserving all of Canyon Lake POA facilities, including the lodge, the country club, golf field, parks, sports courts, the senior center, community garden, and swimming pool. There's no fiscal impact associated with this change, and it is recommended the board approve the revised facility use policy as presented, replacing the current version.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the facility use policy?
Motion.
Second.
All right, any member comments or questions? Board comments or questions? Tiffany, I think staff did a great job in really cleaning this up, so thank you for that.
Yep.
All in favor of approving the new facility use policy, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. The next one is kind of piggybacking off of the facility use policy. It's a revision to our sanction club and activity group policy. So this policy is specifically for our clubs. The current policy lacks clarity around group definitions, expectations, and benefits, which has made it difficult for our staff to ensure fairness and consistency across all of our participating groups. The revised policy better defines the 2 categories, which are sanction clubs and activity groups, each clearly outline with their responsibilities and associated benefits. And it also reinforces our commitment to supporting recreational opportunities while promoting fairness by aligning benefits with each group's level of engagement and contribution to the community. The update also introduces an annual review process, which helps us ensure consistency, transparency, and active involvement from all of the groups moving forward. This change has no fiscal impact, and it is recommended the board approve the revised sanction club and activity group policy as presented, replacing the existing version.
Thanks, Tiffany. Is there a motion to approve the sanction club policy?
Motion.
Second? I'll second it. Any member comments, questions? Board comments, questions?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here last month, so I didn't get to ask this, but the banquet benefits for the benefits of sanctioned clubs says customized menus and pricing options. What are those pricing options? What are we giving, a 10% discount, a 20? Hey, we're happy you're here. What are we doing?
They're customized, so each facility establishes their own menus for the clubs. We didn't put a percentage in there because I believe it could vary each year. They would make that decision during their budgeting.
Wouldn't it be better if we had a number so that they know what their benefits are? And the reason I ask this is because people are always coming up and asking me, what's our discount? Why don't we get discount? What is the discount? To just say that there's a pricing option is kind of not real clear. And I would like to give an answer to the people that keep asking me this.
So each year in our budget, we do have pricing for clubs. So there's a whole section in the restaurant sections just for clubs. And then regarding the menu options, that would be something that we probably could put together every year in our banquet menu and say that clubs receive like this much of a discount. And then that would be something you could communicate to them. But in terms of a policy that we're intending to last over several years, I don't think we should put a specific percentage because that could change from year to year. It could be 10% this year, could be 15% next year, or it could be 5% next year.
Could I put it this way? Can you put in here to reference that chart? So at least they know to look at it. And that way you don't have to revise this every year because you're just going to reference that section. So just reference that. Is that something that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can add that in there.
Any other questions? All in favor of approving the sanction? What is the subsidiary motion? Make it.
Like to make a subsidiary motion to add referencing the section for the discounts and pricing under 5.4 banquet benefits.
Just kind of
Customized menus pricing. Page 73. I want to reference the section that we've talked about that has the pricing or the schedule for the year. So we want to reference a pricing schedule or, customized menu schedule for the year, because we can change that without having to change this whole thing.
We have a subsidiary motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the subsidiary motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, subsidiary motion approved.
Thank you, Tiffany. Steve, come on down.
Good evening. This is a request for reserve funding for the year 3 paving project. Since 2021, the POA has performed a full depth reclamation and reconstruction on 2.7 million square feet and seal coating over 1.3 million square feet on our privately owned roads. GMU Paving Engineering was the pavement engineer firm for both of these projects, known as Year 1 and Year 2. The POA also contracted with Premier Paving to do the work. These projects were extremely successful, and both GMU and Premier Paving performed above our expectations. This year, GMU and the POA released another RFP known as Year 3 project. For the next for this next phase of our multi-year road rehab project. This year's scope of work include seal coating 1.1 million square feet of roads completed last year and removals and reconstruction of another 400,000 square feet. The seal coat is essentially a sunblock for roads, and this is going to be applied to the roads that were done last year and our year 2 paving project. This is prudent to the management program for our pavement to keep our private roads looking good. Also this year, we will be microgrind Longhorn Drive, which if you've been on Longhorn, you notice there is a little bit of bumpiness and shakiness. We discovered that at our end of our year 2 paving project and had an agreement with Premier Paving to, at least if they didn't get this contract, to come back and do that microgrinding at no additional cost to us. The reason we chose not to do that last year at the end of our year 2 paving project is there would have been a discoloration in the road of a brand new road. So we would have had complaints about that. So we decided to let the road set up for its year so it can accept the seal coat. That's why we opted to wait and to address that bumpiness on Longhorn Drive. The 5 contractors were invited to bid on this project. 2 contractors submitted their bids. Staff requests the Board of Directors approve the funding of $3,386,334.57 plus a 2.5% contingency from Road Reserve Fund 036700.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a motion to approve this? Oh, is there a motion to approve it? First of all, we will end up doing a roll call at the end, but is there a motion to approve this item for reserve funding for the roads?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any member comments? Questions, please come forward.
I still don't know what my POA number is. The name is Pete Durazio. My POA number is, there you go.
You just got to bring your wife with you.
I'm going to write that on the back of my wallet. Anyway, I was just wondering, when they paved the roads on Point Marina Drive, they only did half the road and then they stopped. So you're talking about discoloration of asphalt, and it's like I just don't know why they did the cul-de-sac and then they came up to Swan Point and then they stopped, and it's never been done, and that road is getting in terrible shape. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
So certain streets are being done at different years. So we're going to have that. There's going to be seams from the old streets to the new streets, but we are on a multi-year plan. And all streets in Canyon Lake are going to be done.
All right, well, that's great. It's just weird that they did half the road and stopped. It's not like it's not like it's a different road. They only came up half of Point Marina and then they stopped.
Was that at an intersection?
It's kind of an intersection where Swan Point goes into Point Marina, but that's where they stopped right there. So it's
I'll drive by it tomorrow on my way in and take a look at it.
all right. Just curious. Thank you.
Any other member comments? Okay, board comments.
No.
All right, let's do a roll call.
Director Doherty,
Yes.
Director Medved,
Yes.
Director Cooney,
Yes.
Director Bill,
Yes.
President Van Vliet.
Yes.
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
All right, I lost what's on my agenda. All right, Steve, part 2 of this.
So this is part 2, reserve funding for the year 3 paving project construction oversight engineering services. For our year 1 and year 2 projects, we've hired GMU Pavement Engineering to who also designed the projects to do some of our project management. These recent paving projects were the only construction projects in recent years where the POA has used outside construction management services. And we keep these costs down by doing a lot of the paving project management services ourselves in conjunction with GMU. GMU has submitted their proposal to provide the paving oversight engineering services in this year 3 project. Fiscal impact is $295,735, and this would be coming from the Road Reserve Fund 036700. Staff recommends the Board of Directors approve the funding for $295,735 from the Road Reserves 036700.
Is there a motion to approve this, the construction oversight?
Motion.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Member comments? Board comments?
Yeah,
Yes.
just a quick question, Steve. The 3-year paving construction oversight, the services, would we expect to see a project plan from this that we could review, or is it just more of a high-level management activity?
It is a high-level management activity from GMU, but they do provide reports that we could consolidate for the board, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, people may want to know approximately when this project will begin.
If we still have to award the contract, and we're hoping to start this project early fall and have it wrapped up before rainy season.
Before holidays or rainy season?
Before rainy season.
So
So we've done year 1 and year 2 projects over holidays before, and we usually do a big stopgap between that. So we're not paving
Okay.
on, the streets are torn up on Christmas Day, if you will.
Okay.
All right, let's do a roll call on this one.
Director Doherty,
Yes.
Director Medved,
Yes.
Director Cooney,
Yes.
Director Bill,
Yes.
President Van Vliet.
Approve.
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
Thank you, Steve. All right, we're going to start with Greg. We're going to go quickly over board liaison committee reports. With Greg. Starting with Greg.
Recreation Committee has, I just learned actually tonight from Tiffany, has 2 openings and 5 applicants. So we are rich with applicants, which is a good sign. We received an idea from a member via email about a week ago, which is an interesting new idea that I'd never seen before and is not currently done in our community. So that's going to be considered, I believe, by the rec committee, although I have to touch back with the young lady that sent it in, get her to come to the meeting. So we are flush with candidates and raring to go. Quite honestly, I've not made contact with my new friends at the Estates Committee, but I'm continuing to do that, and I'm sure I will accomplish that in short order.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Greg. Lainey?
Yes, I had my opportunity for both rules and appeals. What I would say about both committees, rules in particular, they are an energetic group of individuals, which is really cool to work with. I think they take their roles very genuinely and vigorously. There's a good amount of debate and discussions, which I love to see as the board liaison. But more importantly, those discussions and debates led to actual alignment and agreement, and they were really focused on progressive action. So it's a great first experience out the door. And with appeals, what are we working on? Well, that's kind of obvious what the committee works on. But the thing that struck me in doing it is the seriousness that people take these roles, the common sense that I think the committee applies, the reasonableness of their approach. And I think the balance that they try to strike between supporting and upholding the rules that we've all voted to enforce while still trying to help residents where appropriate. And it was just a great first meeting on both of my committees, and I'm super excited about working with them.
Thanks, Lainey. I'm with the reporting for the senior work group. Thankfully, they moved their meetings to the second Tuesday of the month, so I only have a 8-hour day instead of a 12-hour day, which I greatly appreciate them for doing that. They have their in July, the last Sunday in July, they'll have the potluck that is going to be sponsored by the Sports Stop. It'll be a Mediterranean buffet, and the first 70 people who sign up are welcome to attend. So if you're interested, contact Kathy Barbet for that. I'm also liaison to the Green Committee and the TWG. And a couple of things on the Green Committee, the golf course. Our golf course saw over 42,000 rounds of golf last year, which is a new record. The repeat revenue for the greens fees was almost $1 million. And so they've done quite well. The course is getting heavily used, which is good. And the TWG is a group that goes out there. They're a working group that help beautify the course and help conduct some maintenance and so forth. They logged just last month, they logged 405 volunteer hours and over 4,000 total volunteer hours last year. They go dark during the summer and in the July, August, and September, I think, timeframe because it's the heat. But they log 4,000 hours in the other 9 months. So they do a great job. That's it for those committees.
And I'm the liaison for the FPC and the Security Committee. So with the FPC, recently we reviewed the 5-year plan, worked with the Finance Committee, reviewing it against the budget. And we're developing a new 5-year plan, which we discussed briefly in our meeting today, and that will be coming out hopefully soon as we address that. The other thing I'm happy to say, and this was brought up earlier, one of the things the FPC has worked on for a while and we pushed out a couple of times, and something I said I'd do when I first got on a couple of years ago is we're finally moving forward with a secure motorcycle parking lot. So I'm really happy to see that finally come to fruition. That's something that they've worked on for a couple of years. As far as the Security Advisory Committee goes, there's not much to say. I think Ken said it all. They did a great job with the e-bike safety fair. Really appreciate Saul and Chris and Daryl, guys that showed up. Can't forget Terry, because he won't let me forget that if I don't mention him. These guys went out in the heat of the day. I know Ken mentioned this, but I want to reiterate this. These guys went out there in the heat of the day, marked up everything, laid out the course, worked with these kids, taught them things that they needed to know for their own safety. And they did this as volunteers out of the goodness of their heart and concern for the community. And the reason I say this, if you want to step up to a higher level and hang out with these guys, we do have an opening on the Security Committee. So if you think you've got what it takes to get on our Security Committee and you're willing to get out and do some work, and the same goes for the FPC, if you're willing to get out and do some work, we would love for you guys to apply to these 2 committees. Thank you.
Hi, Bill Medved, Finance Committee. You're surprised by that, right? Hey, so I've got some really interesting news. Last year, a subsidy is how much money we pay to operate something. So the restaurant makes this much money, it costs this much money, and a subsidy is what we pay to cover the difference, okay? So last year in May, our subsidy was $22,082. This year, we made $218. Therefore, there was no subsidy involved. The lodge made money. Last year, the country club, the subsidy was $32,800, and this year it's $5,700 for the month of May. A lot of hard work. We're still making a lot of progress. We're working with a lot of people on Eric's team and the Finance Committee, but I'm very proud of the progress that we're making. So the other thing I want to do is everyone's putting plugs in for their committees. Nah, the Finance Committee is where you want to be. This year, we're building new ways. Last year, we built a model where we suggested, the Finance Committee suggested to the staff and the board, this is what your year-over-year expense should be, your increase in cost. And it was the most impactful recommendation, in my opinion, the finance committee ever made to staff and to the board. This year, we're going to continue to build on that by adding a few more key measures. You don't want to put a lot of process and a lot of stuff on there right away, but we're going to be focusing on that. This is the interesting part. We're also going to kick off a project to compare our POA to other Southern California POAs and HOAs. So amenity for amenity, how much are we paying in dues, how much are we paying in fees? The reason we want to kind of do that is we want to look at our local market, being Southern California, compare it and not just have consumer price index or the cost of construction, which is what we used last year, and kind of get a holistic picture. So the new people coming in on the committee, you can help build that. And that sounds like fun to me. So that's the end of my finance committee plug.
Thank you, Bill. All right, Eric, you want to, how about a GM report?
Yes, sir. Well, I talked quite a bit about fish in the lake and golden algae, so I'll keep this short. As usual, I like to refer people to our staff reports that start on page 78 of the agenda that we handed out at the table, or the agenda in the PDF that is posted online. On page 79, the communications department, Tiffany puts this report together, and I just want to bring people's attention that the communications department states that their department goals are fostering community engagement, building greater transparency, promoting community recreation and events, and improving information dissemination, promoting our revenue generating amenities, and enhancing online digital services. And I just want to thank Tiffany and the communications team for everything they do to keep our members informed and react very quickly. I don't know when, but probably tonight, the emergency resolution that was passed today will be posted. If not tonight, early tomorrow. She's nodding tonight. So they react in real time, often very late at night and Saturdays and Sundays. And when we need to get information out to our members, Tiffany and the communications team under her direction reply night or day. So thank you for that. And please read those reports. They put a lot of time into all the staff reports. There's Marine Patrol, Community Patrol. On the operations report, page 100, you'll see a summary of everything the ops department is doing there. As previously mentioned, we're about to get started on our year 3 paving project. Thank you, board, for approving the funding. We're looking forward to getting that going this year. Other things operations is working on is the LED light conversion at Galt Field. When the season ends later this summer, we will be installing the lights. Season over yet? Okay. 7th of July, we're going to begin the LED light conversion at Galt Field. And as Jeff mentioned, we're getting just about ready to do our motorcycle parking project at the main gate. And that'll be a nice, improved, secure motorcycle parking area behind a motorized gate with cameras, and much more secure situation for the motorcycles that park there. And that's all I have this evening. I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, to wrap it up, Bill, you get to go first.
So this board's been in formation for 2 months, and it's been a rough 2 months with the lake and the e-bikes and, other challenges. But I do have to say, I think the team is forming up. We're starting to, the storming, norming, and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate the people that I'm in this journey with. I know that doesn't need more information. I gave the information earlier.
Well, there's not much to say because you kind of said it all. This board is a new board. They've been hit with a lot of stuff, and I'm very happy that Lainey and Bill are on here, and I'm looking forward to some good things getting accomplished over the next couple of years. And I just want to thank you guys for your support and being here. And Hope you all have a happy and safe 4th.
A lot of the same things. It's been drinking from a fire hose or baptism by fire or whatever other metaphor you want to use. But it's also been really fun. And I hope that the community residents are seeing the action that's already being taken. I think Bill put it really well. This is a board that is definitely has a bias for action, and we are moving as quickly as possible, but with great thoughtfulness. And I hope that the progress in the financials that we discussed today and Bill just highlighted with reduced subsidies, more profitability, better cash flow. You know, when you see the seriousness that we're taking the e-bikes and the lake management. So I hope that it's clear to the residents how serious we're taking our jobs and how we are working as hard as possible to deliver our commitments when we ran for the board.
It really is hard going second to last because everyone said what you thought you were going to say. I do want to belatedly welcome my 2 new colleagues to the board. I don't think I did that before, so welcome. We are working well together. I'm looking forward to a good year. And other than that, I have nothing profound to say, but everybody have a safe and sane 4th of July.
I actually have one thing that none of you said. Last week was Eric Kazakov's birthday. So, you know, as a general manager, it's hard. I've been a member of many. I talked to my wife how many homeowners associations I've been a part of. I think 7. I've lived in 7 different homeowners associations, so quite a few. We've moved around a bit, and this is the only one where it isn't outsourced to another company to do it. And so to actually bring it all in-house, run it with all these amenities, the staff, the 200 some odd people we have is a Herculean effort. I know Eric responds, he's watching social media, he's watching the emails and texts and love notes that come in from the board. And and he's on it around the clock. And so Eric, I want to say thank you for all your hard work and happy birthday. And I also give my wishes again. Look forward to seeing everybody out there this weekend. This is one of the best weekends of the year in Canyon Lake, and I know my kids are coming in, and we've got a lot of guests and so forth, and it's looking forward to having a great time out there. I feel really good about the what our community patrol is doing, getting ready, the security measures in place. Again, just thanks to the staff. This is also a big weekend for staff. There's a lot of people working to make this special weekend special for us, and so I thank staff for that. Happy 4th of July, everyone. We're going to adjourn briefly for 5 minutes and then we're going to take up one appeal afterwards. So at this point, we're going to log off online, and the rest of you, again, have a good night. Thanks.